Welcome, everybody. Glad you could join us. I'm going to kick today's Lunch and Learn session off. I know time is always of the essence. So first and foremost, who am I? My name's Connor. I'm a point of contact, work as business development at Toro. Have you got any questions or queries, please get in touch with me and I'll do my best to help. Lunch and Learns, what's the series about? The series is once a month, and the idea behind it is to discuss a vast range of topics that the everyday person will need. So far, we've done two sessions. The first one was 3 lines of packing. So whether that's business or leisure, you know what to pack and where to pack. So whether your travel on, what goes in your main luggage case. After we touched on that, we moved on to transit travel hubs. I know a lot of people work and live in London, so getting the tubes, stations, when to get your phones out, when you're going to the airport, things to look for when exiting the airport, which taxis to get, which apps to use, doing your homework, etc. So yeah, those are two we've done so far. Today's session's all about home security, so it's a big one. I know everyone's will have a personal opinion on this about how to best defend their houses and their families. But we're gonna dive into that very shortly. Can I get next slide, please? So before I go any further, I just want to give you a quick brush up about Toro, who we are, just in case this is your first time here. We've been around for 10 years now. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary after our founder and CEO Peter created the company back in 2015. Since then, we've gone on to do big and great things. But primarily, what we're focused about is converged security. So taking a holistic standpoint, combining everything together under one umbrella, ensuring there's no gaps or vulnerabilities left. But without further ado, I know everyone's keen, a quick minute or two to get into it, but I'm going to hand over to Justin, who is our physical security consultant, and he's going to kick things off with home security. If you do have any questions, queries as we're going along, put them in the chat and I'll fire them across to Justin. Over to you, Justin.
Thank you, Connor. So my name is Justin. I'm a physical security consultant with Toro. A bit of background about myself. So ex-military, then I moved into the close protection world where I predominantly operated in the Middle East for over 10 years. And then I transitioned into a role back in the UK, working for one of the largest distribution companies in the Midlands before moving into Toro. So we'll get straight onto it. So why home security? So we're here today to give you the hard and fast truth about what home security is. And what's the primary function of home security? Well, first and foremost, it is to protect your family. We're then looking at protecting your property. We want to create a safe environment for not just you, but your family, your friends, and anyone else who visits your residence. And a big one these days is working from home. So due to COVID, a lot of people now predominantly work from their residence. So how do we actually look at securing your home? You do your research, inspect and test your defenses, what you currently have. Secure your home. So these are things that you can potentially buy or add on to your defense that you've got currently. And then don't get complacent. So step 1, do your research. Right. So we want you to actively go away and engage with your local community. So what we mean by that is understand the area that you live in. And the easiest way to do this is speak to people. Yeah.
Sorry, Justin, just jumping in as I'm going to do. I suppose this will be directed to people potentially if you're going to move in or if you're renting, whatever it might be, just before you commit to buying a house and speaking to the estate agent, because they're obviously going to try and sell the area. Just basically pop into your local shops, speak to whoever it might be on the street, and just ask them about the area, right?
I mean, you can even approach friends or family that live in the area. Predominantly, if you're going to move to an area, you're going to have someone there that you either know or there's going to be some form of interest, whether it's work or something that's brought you to that area anyway. So yeah, we say talk to the shop owners. They'll be more than happy to discuss the crimes because it's gossip. People like to gossip. Has the neighbourhood been targeted? What is the police response time in that area? Some information can be found online through a variety of sources, which I'll get Connor to post up later on in the chat for you, so you can go through and have a look. In places like the Office of National Statistics, UK Gulf crime websites, places like that. Another good place these days is social media. Although it's not verified or vetted, you can actually gain quite a lot of open source intelligence through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these various social media platforms. Thank you, Connor. So I'm just going to give you some quick crime stats for the UK. So the average value of goods stolen during burglaries is £4,500. And when intruders damage the property, repair costs are additional expense. But it's not just that. I think it's the psychological toll it takes on its victims. So you may be the victim of a home invasion, and then you can't go back to work. Therefore, you're then out of pocket, and then the more expenses will incur.
You always hear horror stories around insurance as well. You know, it's good to have a safety net of insurance, but there's a lot of loopholes in it. You know, if you've left the window open, or perhaps your lock isn't what you said on your application, insurance void, £4,500 gone. So,
yeah, exactly. So according to studies, the first thing burglars normally consider is visibility. Homes in busy areas with clear visibility tend not to be the ones that are targeted. If you have dense shrubbery, that's actually been noted as a favourite for burglars. They like to hide in the shrubs so they can't be seen. And figures show that burglars tend to be more active during the summer. So when you're away on holiday or when you're out down the seaside, that's particularly when they tend to strike. So some statistics which I'll get thrown up in the chat for you. So there's been a 45% increase in home burglaries in the last year. Burglar numbers in the UK did drop between 2022 and 2025. West Yorkshire is the highest burglary rate in the county. There was 296,000 burglaries from April 2018 to 2019. So imagine that. That's quite a high percentage of numbers. Sorry. The average burglary across the UK is averaged at about £3,000. London has 3 times as much more money lost due to burglaries in that area. Young people are more likely to be targeted. Rural areas do experience fewer burglaries than urban areas. Someone is generally at home 58% of the time, and this goes back to the psychological toll it takes on people. 32% of the homes in the UK now do have some sort of security system, and this is because of the upward trend in the way the home burglaries are actually going. 43% of burglars actually know their victim. And
that's
during
an
the day,
interesting one, isn't it? 43% of that's nuts. 43% of victims know the perpetrator.
You wouldn't think it'd be that high either. So potentially your neighbour, your friend, could be the person that's burgling your house. So on one side, yes, have that strong community. On the other side, you've still got to be very gated and very warded off.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll touch on this later on, but just one thing that's come straight to mind there is how often do people get excited about going on holiday or whatever they're doing? Look where I'm going. 43% of people who get there, they know them.
I don't want to give too much away because I'll cover that in the next slide. So between 3 and 5 p.m. is the most common time for burglaries. I think this attributes down to people coming home from work, going out on school runs. The houses will tend to be unoccupied at that time. And police actually only solve 5% of burglary cases. Just moving on. So the first step 2, we want to inspect and test our defences. So what we want you guys to do is look at your home security through the eyes of a burglar. Yeah, look around your property and think about how you would break in. If you can get in, they can get in. All right. Have you left any doors or windows open? Have you left anything in the garden laying around that you can use to climb up a wall or get through a window? And essentially, can you break into your own house without your neighbour seeing? All right, so that we do this. We follow a certain procedure in the consultancy world that we'll try and put across to you guys now. So we start from the outside driveway. So we look at the driveway. Is it gated? Is it non-gated? Is there security systems that lead up to the driveway that could visually identify someone, or is it just an easy path to the property? Foliage. We look at thickness, density, shrubberies, all that kind of stuff. How is your garden? Is it cut back? Can somebody see in or out? Is there a potential path that a potential home intruder could take? Fencing, what type of fencing do you have around the property? Is it waist high? Is it shoulder high? Is it the old type of iron wrought fencing where you got the little spikes on top? Because obviously that's going to deter someone as well. Lighting, does the street lighting afford adequate lighting to your property? So there's a lot of people now that don't live in residential areas where they can have a driveway, they have to park on the street. Is the street lights covering your vehicle? If not, or is it a potential hiding spot where someone could sit there and wait and then target your property as you're leaving? And then we look at climbing aids. So do you have objects laying in the front or back garden that would assist the break-in? Again, these can include bins, ladders, stepping stones, slabs, wheelbarrows, absolutely anything someone could use to get on top of to get into a higher location.
I'm dreadful for that. I can guarantee our people in this in the meeting today will be the same. I guarantee there's tons of garden utensils, whatever you want to call it, shovels, scattered around the garden.
Well, the funny thing is, I was out there the weekend. I was just walking around my garden. I was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't be leaving that there. I need to move that." So then I moved it into the garage, locked it away. It's just all it takes is a quick 2-3 second look.
Yeah, totally right.
So then we look at the home itself. What kind of defenses do your home have? It may have an alarm system. So then we look at, well, you guys should be looking at, when was the last service? Do your doors and window contacts still actually work? Do you have any error messages? When was the last time you set it to make sure that it was actually functional? We look at doors as well. Are you able to force open any doors yourself, like just with a gentle nudge? It may not be sat in the latch correctly, though, or the lock might not sit properly, or the key might be twisted. These kind of things. Windows, the same thing. We look at, you should we be looking at the window? God, I've lost my train of thought now. The window.
Hinges.
Yeah, they said, sorry, the window hinges, bolts, what they sit in. Also, the framing around the window is dilapidated, is it broken? Can someone use that to pry open the window frame and then push your window through? So these are things you guys will see when you walk around your house, and you'll notice it straight away. Another one that's often overlooked is doorbell. So can you visually identify someone through your doorbell or through your spy hole cameras? If you can't visually identify someone, I need to have something in place where you could have a secondary point of observation. So where the front room window, just stick your head out, have a look. Where you're not putting yourself out there too much, but you can still make a visual identification who's actually at your front door. Because I guarantee there's a lot of people here who call Uber Eats and I'll just run to the front door and open the door when the doorbell rings.
And you got no idea who it is.
Exactly. And as we touched on before, like, because we generally all now work from home. If an intruder knows that you're working from home, it's already highlighted on the fact that you've got expensive equipment there, a monitor, PC, laptop, printers, all these kind of things that's going to make like your house more attractive to that individual. So what we do with that, we recommend that laptops are secure but not in use. Password protect all your devices, and if you can, have the auto erase feature that if they enter the password in the wrong times, then the device is auto erased automatically. So Windows Office especially, if you've got blinds or privacy film, we recommend you put something like that on there to prevent viewing externally. Secure storage, we recommend that you have lockable valuables such as laptops and IT equipment, and you lock them away at the end of the day so they're not left out overnight. And I know this doesn't happen very often, but I'll touch on it. A lot of people don't use hard copies anymore, so printing papers off. If you do, though, we recommend that you should have this definitely stored away in some lockable storage, because if that was to get out as potentially client data or employee data that you're now that's now out there in the wild world, that could be used against you. Yeah. Okay, so remember, always test your own property, because if you can get in, they can get in. So now we'll look at securing your home. So no burglar really wants to spend too much time breaking in, so just don't make it easier for them.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just for jumping in, like, burglars are opportunists, right, for the most part. I know you said 43% know their victim, but is that still targeted, or is it still an opportunity? If Billy's going on holiday and he's posted on Instagram that he's away for 2 weeks and Philip's seen it and he wants to go and, burgle it, is that an opportunistic because he's seen that the opportunities arise, or is he targeted?
To find out that answer, you need to then delve into what opportunistic time is and pre-planned. I'd say opportunistic time is a spur of the moment thing. Someone walking by, seeing your 60-inch TV through the window, going, "Do you know what? I'll come back later and have that." Whereas if you got someone who is maybe in a bit of money trouble, who needs to have something like that, they always run your house and they're seeing the actual insides of your house. You can tell because when they've come in, they've probably targeted your jewelry or your high value goods from that perspective. Okay. So there's a saying I've heard over the years: securing your home is like locking the fridge when you're on a diet. Yeah, you're not stopping a pro, but you are making you work for it. And that's all we want to do. We want to make it so difficult for them that they don't even want to try. So the easiest way to do this is we put signage up, saying CCTV in operation or beware of dogs. Even if you don't have a CCTV or you don't have dogs, put one up there anyway.
This is massive. People that this one. The first time I came across this was an ex-girlfriend about 5-6 years ago, and I recall going around the parents, and there was beware of dog, and there was no dog in there, and I was like, "What? Why have you got that on there?" And then obviously it made sense, intruders. And if you're an opportunistic thief, burglar, whatever it might be, you got two houses in the street. One's got beware of dog sign, one hasn't. The chances are you're going to go for the one that hasn't, right? You're not going to chance it and see if there is a dog in there.
Exactly. Well, I'm actually known some people who don't have any dogs, who when they go out, they have a recording of a dog barking every 40 minutes or so, and they play it over and over again. It just gives that little bit more deterrence for someone trying to think, oh, do you know what, that'll be an easy property to break into. Because no one, to be fair, the last thing you want to do is break into a house and stood there face to face with a Rottweiler or a Belgian Malinois.
And how much would a beware of dog sticker cost off Amazon? You're talking £2, a quid.
Oh, you could probably get them for 99, below £1 easily online if you can find them. So the next thing we would like to look at is installing lighting. So a motion sensor to detect movement, because the last thing you want to do is be stood in the back of your gun, your light going off, and the burglar going, "Oh my, look at me," there, or in the front. And again, it doesn't just highlight that very moment there. Your neighbours are then alerted to, why is that light going off?
Yeah. Another thing with the outdoor one as well is you've got, my mum used to use these, the indoor ones. So when there's no one in and they're gone out for a meal, whatever it could be, they set the timer, it goes off at 8 o'clock, light comes on, looks like someone's in the house.
I mean, I still know a lot of people to these days that will go out and leave the TV on just to give the appearance that someone's home watching TV. All these little tips and tricks, they do work. So keys, big one for us. We recommend that you remove your key, because there's no point in you having an absolute fortress of a home, when someone can just come through the letterbox, grab your keys off the side, use their coat hanger, and then they've got access to your car. They just drive away then, or they've got access to your front door key, which is even worse. So we recommend that you lock your keys away in a secure area away from the door. I'll touch on this quickly, but if you've got an electric car or a central locking car that you have to use your key to open it, there are little devices out there called Faraday bags. They're really cheap. I was looking at them earlier on. You can get for about 10 quid on Amazon, and it stops them from being cloned. So these people outside trying to steal your car signal with the big antennas that walk around, you just put one in there, and it could potentially prevent your car being stolen from that device.
So just a quick little story there. I won't tell long. Last year, a good friend of mine lives by himself. I think it was about 2-3 in the morning. Some young lads punched his lock through, stole his key, and he didn't hear a single thing. Didn't hear anything. Punched his lock through, got his car, and it turned out it was a TikTok competition between two rival gangs to see who could steal the most cars. Car writ off.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's why we'd always opt for a multi-point lock door instead of your single deadlock or single bolt lock door. But we can talk about that later. That's not a problem. Install visible CCTV systems. We've already touched on this slightly, but if your house has some sort of camera that someone can see, immediately you're gonna drop the chances of them trying to break in, because the last thing they want is to be visually recorded committing a crime.
Yeah, sorry, this is a big one for me, because I keep seeing different types of cameras. I see the Ring doorbell cameras, and I think, okay, they're great because the person can see it at the front door. You can speak through it. You can see their face. But then again, they're not too what's the word? They're not too discreet, are they? They're there for a reason. They're a bit of a deterrent. But then again, I've seen other people with cameras, screwed on underneath the guttering, where they've actually wired it inside to a hard drive to store, so they can log on their phone whenever and see a full picture of what's going on outside the house at that very moment. Like, is there any pros or cons? Should people be choosing Ring doorbells over, the more standard sort of security cameras we see that you can get installed for a little bit more expensive, or should people be using a mix of both?
Personally, I'd say use a mix of both, because your ring doorbell is only really there to cover your doorbell movement, right? What you actually want to do is you want to set out an outer layer defense. So you really want cameras covering the perimeters, the inside, but the perimeter of your property. So you want people picked up from ideally you want that picked up from all angles. I know that's not really budget friendly for a lot of people.
No.
And all depending on the security system that you look at. There are some very good deals out there at the minute. Which you guys can find online by easily searching home security. It doesn't have to be a wired; it can be a wireless system. It can even be a battery system, as long as you keep on top of the maintenance of changing your batteries and actually understanding when your cameras have gone down. So you periodically check it. It's all about maintaining the equipment you've got.
What about cameras that pick up number plates as well? Is that, I mean, if you have got a budget and you are looking at spending, let's say, best part of £1,000 on updating all your security, I've heard of these, number recognition plates that people covertly store, on a wall or something to pick up perpetrators' car as they come and go in.
ANPR. I need to do a bit of digging into that, because as far as I'm aware, ANPRs, it can be used in a commercial. I'm not too sure it can be used in a residential. I will go away and find that out for you though.
Okay.
But yes, if you could use it if you use it in a residential place, it's brilliant, because now I know you identifying the person coming into the residence, you're identifying the vehicle that they've used, which will then go in towards the investigation of what the police do.
Sure.
So just moving on now, it's burglar alarms. Install a burglar alarm with external sound unit. So this is for us. This is the big thing. If you've got an external sound unit going on, blaring at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's going to wake everybody up. Everyone's going to notice, and that guy is not going to want to hang around any longer than what he needs to, or that guy or girl. Sorry. But the minute he breaches that property door or the property window, and them alarms go off, 9 times out of 10 he will turn around and run away, unless he is determined to get something and it's a targeted attack. And you can't sway them anyway the way that 9 times out of 10 a burglar alarm will work. And then obviously we've already touched on pets, so I won't really diverge anymore. A couple of other things, tips and trips. We'll say letterbox, fit a letterbox cowl or restrictor. As I said before, it prevents people putting their hands through or putting devices through to be able to take things from inside your house, or even coming up and undoing the deadlock from inside. Because a lot of people just put the deadbolt on and they don't lock the door. Anti-climb measures. We recommend putting pigeon strips down on the perimeter walls. They're the devices that we can legally use in the UK. So they'll deter anyone coming over, because what they do, they're little spikes. If you put your hand on them, they'll cause a bit of pain. Garages and outbuildings. So we look at them as well. Make sure they're all locked. Make sure there's no one in there hiding when you're going out. And then also, we encourage having a strong community, because by having a strong community where you all look out for each other, you're off to a winning start.
That's the big one, I think, that we've seen slowly being eroded away, is the community feel. People looking after each other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Neighbour misses their bin, I'll put it out. It means when I go away, pass my number on. If you see anything suspicious, can you drop me a message? Just keep an eye out. Teamwork makes a dream work, doesn't it?
I'll just touch on these really quickly, because I am conscious of time. A couple of things we also recommend is install a safe for your valuables. Don't put it in your bedroom. Put it somewhere inconspicuous, somewhere that they would not think to look. Use a forensic marking solution, so like a UV pen to mark up all your valuable items. Register your valuable items on www.immobilize.com. I'll get Connor to put that in the link afterwards. And if you have a bicycle, there's a www.bike register. So register your bike on there in case it gets stolen. And the last thing I'll touch on for securing your home is panic buttons. So in extreme cases where you think you need a panic button, you don't need the all singing, all dancing actual buttons now. There are lots of mobile apps that do it for you. I've got one of mine. It's called Life 360. Enables me to press it, and all my immediate circles then notify that I'm in trouble. Something's wrong. Call the police or call the ambulance. Okay. So last but not least, don't get complacent. So we've done everything to bring us up to this point now. We've made sure all our equipment's working. We put new equipment in. It does not matter if we are then not, turning on the intrusion detection system or making it look like we're not home. So we still want to keep up the hard work. So we say switch on, not off. Yeah, and what this means is when you're going out, even for a walk or anything like that, turn your intrusion detection system on. Make it armed, even for the 5-10 minute walk that you're going out, because just make it a habit. Holidays, we'll touch on them. So don't go posting your holiday pictures online, because what you're doing there is you're highlighting that you're not in the house. Yeah, and people will use that to their advantage.
I can't get over that one enough. Like, just wait to post your pictures till you get back.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not gonna cause any detrimental effect for you being on holiday. Just wait till you get back, post all your pictures, and then if you're going away, don't leave signs that you're not home. So about mail piling up, bins out, that kind of stuff. Ask a neighbour or a friend just to bring them in or collect your mail for you. And then keys. We've already done this again. I've already touched the keys, so I won't touch it any longer. But if you've got electronic keys, buy a Faraday bag, put them in there. That's probably the best advice we can give you. Doors and windows. Remember, when you're going out, simply lock your doors and windows and don't leave the keys in there. There's many times I've gone out and I'm like, oh no, I need to go back and need to close that window. So it's a conscious thing that everyone just needs to be made aware of.
I suppose one last thing with complacency. Let's say it's 7-8 o'clock at night. I'm a single mum at home. Stranger knocks on the door. I've got no idea what for. I don't recognise them. I mean, this is obviously going to be a personal judgment call to the situation, but do you have any sort of general standard advice? Depending on the person, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can visually identify that person, don't open the door. You're not obligated to open the door. If you don't know who it is and you're not expecting a visit, don't open it.
Yeah.
And if
you're not say you're not feeling too comfortable, whatever the reason, do not feel you're obligated. You have to answer, sort of thing.
Of course not. No, your safety is the utmost priority. Right. So the last thing I'll finish off here before we move on to questions is complacency. Complacency is a silent partner in most break-ins. Yeah, don't let comfortable become your weakest link. I can't say any more. I'll say any more than that. Yeah, a lot of people do absolutely everything they can to build their home to be at the biggest fortress in the world, and they'll go out and not set the intruder detection system. So it's little things like that will let you down. So if you got any questions, we're free to take the floor now.
Yeah, apologies. Normally it's me asking too many questions and it runs over. Cheers, Justin. You'll see a QR code on the page that will take you to a feedback form. So if you'd like to slander myself and Justin, that's the perfect opportunity to do so. On the flip side, if you did find it enjoyable, there's a great opportunity there to write your comments. It's like Alex has got his hand up. I think everything's on mute, so you might have to put a chat in. Does he live there? Sorry, Alex, we're coming to you. You can just post in the chat, Alex, your question.
If anyone's got any questions, feel free to drop me a line on LinkedIn or just to the Toro email address, and we can reach out to you if it doesn't get covered today. And
then also next month, there'll be another Lunch and Learn series. We'll put a poll up about what that's going to be about. I'm not too sure yet. We like to leave the floor open. But yeah, I appreciate everyone joining today. I know it's your lunch, but hopefully you took something away from it. And we look forward to seeing you again. Will's typing quickly, so we'll just hold fire for that one. 2 minutes left. Do you have any stats for burglaries that are from OCGs, Justin?
Not currently, but I can get some.
We'll get some over to you, Will. If you can just give Liv or Toro an email.
Will, are you looking at regional or are you looking at national? There's obviously different OCGs operate in different areas. Okay, right. I'm trying to get something over to you.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. Take care. Have a good day.